Good morning. Welcome to yet another wonderful Wednesday. Let's start our morning with some new vigor, some new energy, and let's add power to our dreams. So there, let's start. Super, wonderful. Now let's power ourselves up with reading this beautiful book, Refuse to Choose. Why is it that we become scanners? What is it that we do in our day scanner notebook? Has anyone written it? I don't think I've actually not been on social media yesterday. And so if anybody's written, have you shared? Ruchi, please read, please, today.
What's wrong with me? Few things are more demoralizing than believing you're running your life the wrong way and feeling helpless to change it. If you keep failing at your attempts to be like all the normal people around you, you might feel like a misfit, even a failure. That's how too many scanners see themselves, and it's a heartbreaking misjudgment. It's painful to watch these remarkable people be hard on themselves for not sticking to one path in life, or to hear them use as proof of their failure the very best things about them: their curiosity and fascination for what is new, their willingness to explore unfamiliar worlds, the exceptional ability to learn new concepts, their enthusiasm for experience, in other words, their love of being fully alive. In an attempt to confirm, some scanners even try to keep their talents hidden away and quiet. With all the luck, they would have hiding a box of puppies in a library, and with all the unnecessary discomfort too. Our talents and those puppies are so much happier when they are running free. So what's going on here? Who said scanners had to change? Well, it's a big misunderstanding, actually, and not the first one of its type in history. We used to think children should be seen and not heard, that left-handed people should be trained to use their right hands, that dyslexics were stupid or lazy. Fortunately, those notions have been set right for the most part, and countless people are now free to live their lives fully without repressing themselves or being unfairly judged. Now it's time to right the wrongs against scanners so they can develop the exceptional potential. If you think you might be a scanner, that is, if you are someone who loves so many things, you have never succeeded in choosing only one and forsaking the others, change this misunderstanding begins with you. The world will catch up in its own good time, but your life is too valuable to wait for the important event. In fact, you can have a hand in starting to open everyone's eyes about scanners. It all starts with you. Right here, right now. You must begin to see who you really are.
So let's see, we are the kind of people who have multiple interests in many things. We're super enthusiastic, and yet we can't complete some story of ours. We start something, we start a project, but we are unable to come bring it to fruition. And our mind diverts to something new. So let's get Pamela's story and understand, are we similar? Please unread it to understand it. Do you have any similarity with that? Yes, thank you so much.
Pamela's story. I recently read this post on my bulletin board with astonishment. Hi, my name is Pamela. I'm 42. Found your books when I was about 27 or 28. Since then, I have traveled to Greenland, driven to Alaska, and spent a year there. Been whale watching, tracked UFOs for the US Air Force, started several different businesses, bought and sold a couple of houses, been on a ghost hunt in an English castle, read tarot cards at psychic fairs, pulled a loop the loop in a fast with little airplane, designed and helped build my current house, landscaped my garden with about 10,000 different flowers, worked in a tattoo parlor, become a drummer in a rock band, two CDs out and the third coming up shortly, raised miniature pinchers, become a certified feng shui practitioner, read 9 million books, knitted a whole miniature village as a Christmas present for my mom, taught myself database programming, become a tour guide at the Atlanta Zoo, given away zillions of copies of your books to anyone who dared say I can't, helped my mom come to terms with cancer 3 times, and a few other things that slipped my mind just now. Just another average bored housewife. Anyway, now I'm living on 160 acres in the wild of Alabama, a dozen miles away from the nearest settlement, and wondering what to do next. So that's me, or part of me anyway. I wrote Pamela at once to congratulate her on living such an exciting life and to ask if I could use her letter in my book. I didn't ask if she was serious about the 9 million books she read because I was a little afraid of what her answer might be. I thought you expected all your scanner readers to do that, she answered sheepishly. Well, I get good responses, but I have never seen one like yours. What did you do before you read my books? I worked in an office I couldn't stand, but then I left and opened a meal delivery service for shut-ins and started taking medical dictation, did event planning, and ran 2 expos for craftspeople and artisans. Was a traveling sales lady for craft stores for a while. Oh, and wrote 2 cookbooks, which I put up on the internet. I was laughing. Stop, I said. Tell me what I wrote that had that effect on you so I can tell everyone else. And then she said something I have heard over and over again. The comment that caused me to write this book. Actually, the most empowering thing I learned from all your books was the fact that I was a scanner and that it was all right for me to dig into one thing after another as fast as I could. I was beginning to think I would never amount to anything because I just couldn't stick to one thing, no matter how hard I tried. But now I just know that's the way my neurons are wired, and I love it.
So it's very nice to be able to accept ourselves, knowing that we are doing multiple things and किसी एक पे हमारा होता नहीं, कुछ complete करते हैं, कुछ नहीं करते. Why our focus shifts so fast from one thing to another? That's because you might be a scanner. That's because your neurons are built in a wild in a way that you think differently, and that's okay. So here comes the acceptance. Now let's understand, when we get to know that we are scanners, the power of knowing identity. Yes, Ruchi, thank you so much.
Scanners go through an amazing transformation once they begin to understand who they are and realize there is nothing wrong with them. The following is a tiny sample of the hundreds of letters I have received. When you talked about scanners, I almost jumped out of my chair. It was a perfect description of me. I never knew couldn't find my one thing to love doing until I read your definition of a scanner. That seems to be just what I am. Now I feel like I have permission to move ahead on as many fronts as I want. Thank you. I am a scanner. I thought there was something wrong with me. A huge weight has fallen off my shoulders. One of the most wonderful things I have learned from you and your books is that there is such a thing as a scanner, and it is okay to be a scanner. In an age of specialization, It is rare to find someone who will champion us. When I read about scanners, I felt enormous relief, like someone finally understood me. Just reading Barbara's description of a scanner was such a relief to my battered self-esteem. To be honest, the elated reaction of people who realized they were scanners came to me as a surprise at first. I had no idea that simply knowing there was a name for them would cause such a complete turnaround in their outlook and feeling of self-worth. Now I have seen over and over what amazing things a scanner can do with nothing more than the simple permission to be herself. Pamela's list at the beginning of this chapter is pretty impressive. I confess, and not all scanners have done as much as she has. Thought I have met many since who have. Some of
Though
you
I
might,
have met many since you have.
though,
Yeah.
some of you might even get intimidated by how many things she manages to do in her life. Don't be. I bet you don't realize how many remarkable things you have done and wouldn't have thought to list them like Pamela did. Why? Because if you are like most scanners, you thought they didn't count. Or even worse, you believe that since you didn't develop every single thing you started, it meant you were a failure. I hope you are now beginning to understand that you have the absolute right to be who you are. Those puppies are ready to come out of the box now. Let's take a new look at them.
Very, very important to understand, not to judge ourselves. Now that we know we are in a world where we are flipping, jumping, skipping, moving from this to another, that to this to that, it means we've been scanners. It means we're trying to understand why are we built like this and how are we built. So let's see what we have done so far. Let's see the list.
The what have I done so far list. Take out a sheet of paper or your scanner daybook and write a list like Pamela's, with as many experiences or accomplishments, big and small, as you can think of. From teaching your dog a trick when you were a kid to painting a portrait, to raising your own children or helping someone pass an exam. Include all the projects you started that didn't get finished, businesses that didn't get off the ground, courses you didn't complete, and novels you planned but didn't write. Don't think too long. Just write down anything that comes to mind. New items will pop into your head when you think you are done. So don't try to put the list in any kind of order. What you remember is exactly what should be there. Do it now. Pick up your pencil and start writing. Give yourself about 5 minutes to write. Then come back when you're finished.
Will we do this, please, today? Can all of us please do this? Very, very important to first see मैंने अभी तक क्या किया है अपनी लाइफ में. And ये शुरू कब से होगा? जब से आपको कुछ याद है. It could be from 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, doesn't matter. कि मैं किसी स्ट्रेट डॉग को ले आई और मैंने घर में पाल लिया, एक कंपैशन दिखाई, एम्पैथी दिखाया, या किसी बच्चे के साथ ना पेंसिल बॉक्स शेयर कर दिया, whatever. You've done any acts of kindness, or this is only for yourself. It's not to show to anybody else कि आपने क्या क्या किया. हम झंडे नहीं गाड़ रहे किसी और के लिए. It's for ourselves. What have I done so far? This way, we will be able to see a pattern. And I can tell everyone here who's right now on call, we're very few of us here. Please understand, अगर हमने day one से किया जो हमें guide कर रहे हैं बाबरा शेर, then we will be going very deep into our journey. It's one of the most deepest books to go in. So please, without further ado, save your 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day and do it. And things will keep coming up, especially that assignment of this day scanner notebook. Yeah, you'll be really surprised how much we all do. So let's turn the page and let's read about Sharon. What has she done? She's a scanner. Yes, let's read about her.
I never really thought I have done anything, but I sat down to do just a few of these and have so far come up with 3 whole pages of stuff I have done. Wow. I had no idea I have done so much. It's a little strange at first to think of everything you have done or attempted to do as an achievement, especially when you have adopted the scrutiny of our results-driven society. When you read about scanners like Pamela and then see how much you have done yourself, a light begins to dawn. You mean it's okay, it's allowed. You mean maybe I'm not a failure. I'm sure you know how happy such comments make me, but they break my heart too. Think about it. If realizing that one fact that you are a scanner, a bright, curious, probably multi-talented person has this much power, it means that there was never anything wrong with you.
So many times you've asked yourself this question कि problem क्या है यार मुझ में क्यों नहीं stick कर पाता हूँ क्या problem है मतलब hello लोग ये कर रहे हैं ये कर रहे हैं ये कर रहे हैं मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा. That's because we haven't written down कि हम क्या करते हैं. Our energy is vested in a couple of places. Now this book will get us back to where we should be in a way of accepting our multidimensional personality. Now हम क्यों भूल गए कि हम क्या थे? Why did we forget who we are? Let's understand.
How did you forget who you are? Ella didn't know she was a scanner. Sitting abjectly on my couch, she said, my friends think I'm flaky. My ex-boyfriend called me a Delante. My parents want to know what I'm majoring in this week. Even I ask myself, what's my passion du jour? What's wrong with me? I just can't buckle down. Give me some specifics, I said. Ella told me a story new in its details but familiar in its form. She had enjoyed school from kindergarten through the 11th grade. I was a little faster than some kids, but I was never bored because there was always something interesting to do, lots to choose from. But then, a year before graduation, things changed. That's when everybody started asking questions like, what are you going to do now? What school has a good department for what you're studying? Oh, what was it you were going to study? Now, years later, everybody I went to school with has found their way. I'm the only one who hasn't. I wish I was like those people who know exactly what they want from the start.
So, and even the people who know what they want from the start actually don't know. It's a family societal behavior which says, okay, you should do this. And that starts saying, oh, I should do this. I should do this. They really haven't found their calling. But they know family wants me to be a doctor, so I become a doctor. Family wants me to be a banker, so I become a banker. Family wants me to be an architect, so I become. Or they want me to join business, so I do that. It's not what I want. It's what societal conditioning makes us want. So very important. Now, as scanners, why have we not settled down on something that we really love and are doing and flipping? That's because we haven't really found our Swadharma, haven't really found our calling. Let's go further.
Almost every scanner says the same thing when we first meet. They see the respect heaped on the specialist in our culture, the ease with which they answer the big American question, what do you do? And they ache to be the same. You can't blame them, but they don't realize that they are not being completely honest with themselves about this. At the beginning of my scanner workshops, I asked the audience a question. How many of you wish you were one of those people who have always known what they wanted, who followed one path with certainty and clarity? Invariably, all the people in the audience raised their hands, nodding their heads almost wearily. Are you sure of that? I asked. They murmured and nodded yes, thinking of how easy their lives would be without the confusion they now have to deal with. Okay, I say. Then raise your hand if it's okay for you to do one thing and one thing only for the rest of your life. There is a moment of frozen silence as everyone contemplates such a prospect with horror, and not one hand is ever raised. When they look at my face, of course, they realize I have played a trick on them and forced them to admit they don't really want to be specialists at all. Everyone sits back with relief and starts laughing. I can hear remarks like, that would be awful. Ella reacted the same way. You are right. I couldn't bear to do only one thing forever. Oh dear. Does that mean I'm stuck? No, I said. That means you're free. You have been trying to be like other people, trying to give up your curiosity and your interest in lots of areas. Now you can relax and do what comes naturally. Ella started to look interested. Now what's really happening here? Why can't scanners stick to anything? Why won't they make up their minds? Do they really fear commitment? Do they have some kind of learning disability? Are they hopelessly immature, shallow, afraid of hard work? If not, why don't they make their lives easier and do something about their problem? Having so many interests is difficult by itself, but being criticized for your inability to settle down and being worried that you will never accomplish anything creates a load that's just too heavy to carry. But if they are so unhappy, why don't scanners do something about this state of affairs? Most scanners really try. They buy books that tell them how to find their passion, and they go to career testing services to find out what they are supposed to be doing. But for the most part, the solutions they are given are designed for a different kind of person. The major effort of each book and testing service goes towards finding out what the person is most talented at, a method I heartily endorse for non scanners. People ought to use their greatest talent to find a career, but that doesn't work with a scanner. On every app,
Understand one second. So let's understand that all of us who are scanners, it's just we can't stick to anything. Why? Because we are not very sure of it. At times we fear commitment, at times we are committed to something, but there's something that we really want and we are unable to do because in itself it's not possible to go everywhere. We want to do it, but we can't. Mancha hai, intention hai, but we can't. Self help books भी लेते हैं, courses भी join करते हैं, full on से नहीं finish कर पाते because our mind is fiddling and dwindling and moving from one place to another. Now, this is not a disparity. This is not something that you're going to put to yourself and say, no, I can't do this. I couldn't do it. I could not give me 80%, 100%. It's all right. Let's not judge ourselves. We are the way we are. We try to be the best versions of ourselves. We do as much as we can. And sometimes when we can't do something, it's okay not to do. Now let's understand about the aptitude test, what's happening when we're taking them.
on every aptitude test, I come out above average on everything. There is no one outstanding peak. They are all pretty high. This can be really difficult as I never know what to choose. How about you? Ponder a few questions for a moment. Have you ever taken a career aptitude test and found that you were good at many things, or that they all looked so boring you came up with nothing? Were you disappointed because you had hoped that something would leap off the page and you would finally know what direction you should take? Here is what one scanner wrote me. I always hoped something would reach out and grab me and say, "Here I am," but it never did. I wish someone would tell me exactly what it is that I am supposed to be doing with my life. But you will never settle for only one path. Counselors urge their clients to choose a direction because they can't see how else they can take another step. But scanners can't choose one direction. It's like telling a parent to choose one child to feed. It's just not possible. A parent knows she has to feed all her children, and a scanner must find a way to follow every path that interests her. There's nothing else a scanner can do for three compelling reasons.
So the three compelling reasons are very important to understand. Firstly, we depend upon people from outside who are going to come and counsel us and help us navigate the path of our life. But actually, it's all within us. First, I'll read as much as I can, then you can fill in. Thank you so much. First, scanners can't have fewer interest. They're designed to do more. Holding them back is like tying an athlete to a chair or pulling a 2-year-old child in a small, confined place. It creates havoc, even despair. Elizabeth said it very clearly. If I have to slow down or use only one part of me at a time, I become bored, worse than bored. I feel like a part of me is dying on the vine. So please see if you are that kind of person जो एक बार में एक चीज कर रहा है बोर हो जाता है. You want a shift, right? Second, scanners don't want fewer interests. They light up when they see many new things and they're dying to do something with them. Well, you might protest. We all want 5 desserts after dinner too, but we don't get them. We grow up and we have to control ourselves, right? Oh, so wrong. Scanners want it all, not because they're spoiled, but for the larger variety that life has to offer, for the same reasons all our muscles want exercise. Scanners love variety because they have brains that processes things quickly and are ready for new subjects sooner than other people. They have special abilities in many areas and they're built to use them. That's why somewhere inside, although they have to be stuck and don't know how to justify their behavior, scanners secretly refuse to choose. They sense they are becoming stubborn when they don't know It is that this stubbornness comes from a deep sense of integrity. Finally, the third, scanners can, so they must explore many things. Scanners are smart, multi talented. They're divergent thinkers who don't feel Einstein's need to boil the meaning of the universe down to one formula, but like Leonardo da Vinci, would rather expand it endlessly. Most scanners aren't as attached to stability as other people. They seem to have retained the inborn security of a young child, the same love of what's new, the drive to learn and understand everything they see. While most of us find the prospect of change disruptive, even threatening, scanners thrive on it. They don't mind being beginners, as most of us adults. While some are driven to master a subject, then they move to another. Others are perfectly content with a quick study, after which they do move on to another interest. When you see someone with no tolerance for boredom, who's curious about almost anything new and has the ability to constantly process fresh material, you're looking at a scanner. But what exactly is it that attracts scanners? And why do they so often move on to another attraction before they finish the first? The answers to those two questions are essential if you ever want to understand what makes you tick, but it's not mysterious at all. To understand a scanner, you must have to think about bees and honey. So now all of us will try and understand कि हम इतना jump क्यों करते हैं, concentration level कम क्यों है, what is the mystery, why are we behaving the way we are. ठीक है, समझ में आ गया that we are scanners. Let's understand the durations, the rewards, and the honeybees. Ruchi, over to you. You can take up from here.
Whenever people complain that they lack focus, lose interest too easily, can't find their passion, or can't make up their minds about what they want to do, I ask them to consider the honeybee. I'm pretty sure no one in his right mind would ever cause a bee of lacking focus or losing interest too easily. No one says bees can't make up their minds which flower they want to be involved with or accuses them of being unable to settle on their true passion. We assume that when a bee leaves a flower, it's got a compelling reason to do so. Plain and simple. Whether it stays at a flower for 2 seconds or 20 seconds, we understand it needs that amount of time to get what it came for, its reward. And the time required is its duration. Any bee that stayed at a flower after it has emptied it of nectar would be seen as derelict in its duties. When it comes to passion, I think we would all agree that a bee seems very dedicated to its task, but it's not passionate about any one flower. It's passionate about gathering nectar. If you missed that point, you would really misunderstand a honeybee. However, as a culture, we are not in the habit of thinking about scanners the same way. We simply assume that a scanner has a problem if he doesn't stay at one interest as long as we believe he would stay, usually for his whole adult lifetime, or at least until the job is finished. But if we don't know why the scanner is involved with a subject, that is what kind of nectar he's after, we really have no way of knowing what his duration is. So we don't know when he is finished. When I said that to Ella, she brightened at once. So no one has the right to tell me when I'm finished. This is fantastic, Ella said. I wonder what my nectar is. I don't know, I said. Give me some examples in your life where you didn't follow through. Some interesting stories came out. When my parents needed to understand something obscure about their retirement fund to decide whether to invest it, roll it over, whatever, I sat down at the computer for almost 3 weeks to get the answers for them. Ella remembered. It was fascinating. By the time I was through, I could have taught basic finance to anyone with my parents' problem and done a reasonably good job. They suggested it, and I thought it was a great idea too. But once I had gathered the information they needed, I was finished. I haven't had the slightest desire to do anything connected with finance since then. Even before that, back when I was in college, I got the lead in a play where I had the role of an insurance executive, and I totally immersed myself in the subject, insurance. You know how dreary and complicated that looks. But suddenly it was fascinating. Until today, I'm the only person I know who isn't afraid to read the small print in their insurance policies. So, you decided to go into the insurance business, I teased. Never, she laughed. It's not for me, but I'll still help other people understand the fine print if they need that. Maybe there is a reward there too, I suggested. Yes, I will learn how to do almost anything if someone really needs it. That's a big motivator for me. I never really thought about that before.
So,
Ella,
scanners don't find things challenging. They want to understand, they want to be beginners. कुछ सामने आता है. So they want to crack the code. कि, okay, what is there? What is there? They want to get deep down. They're interested about it. They're inspired. Yes, please.
Ella was beginning to assemble the information she needed to put her life together. A bee's reward is nectar. Ella's reward is learning about subjects that are completely new to her and helping people with her new knowledge. What's yours? It's not a question you can answer without thinking about it for a moment, but you do know the answer. Here is a bit of peculiar logic to help you. Read it slowly, it works.
Okay, let me read it. Kuan, a Zen Buddhist riddle used to focus the mind during meditation and to develop intuitive thinking. How long should you stay at something? The answer is however long it takes to get what you came for. So, no timeline, nothing. How do you decide what you came for? You don't, you discover it. आप क्यों किस चीज के लिए आए पता ही नहीं. Gradually, with the process, it will be unfolded. Now, how do you unfold it? How do you discover it? You notice what isn't there anymore when you feel like leaving. Yeah, it's over. I don't really want to understand anything. Another client once told me unhappily, when the discovery phase was over, I just couldn't continue. It was like eating yesterday's breakfast. There was no way I could bring myself to finish. We looked at the moment he lost interest and was unable to continue. And there was the answer, discovery itself. Now, with these beautiful three questions that have been asked, what have we found? We have discovered something. And what we have discovered, we've liked it. Once we've liked what we've seen and probably taken into action, we move on. He loved it. He liked like a new world revealed. It was a riveting experience of confronting something he'd never imagined before. This was the only part he really cared about. What followed felt pointless. You did finish. A discovery was your reward. And then it was over. When you had passed the discovery phase and gotten your answer, it was time to leave. A house painter leaves when he's through painting the house. He doesn't move in and live there. As with the bee, you can tell what a scanner's reward is by when he's drawn to something and when he stops. When you lose interest in something, you must always consider the possibility that you've gotten what you came for. You have completed your mission. So that doesn't mean that you finish that job till the end. Maybe that time you are done with it. You're like, I've got what I came for, and there's nothing which is here for me. So you might start with a dream, you might go further, and then you realize, okay, it's no longer my dream, and that's absolutely okay. See if you can think back to some of your past interests and remember at what point you started to lose interest. Can you put your finger on what was no longer there? If so, you start identifying the rewards that drive you to anything that appeals to you. So that's about it for today. And tomorrow we will read further. Just today, you must analyze about yourself. That beautiful question, it will be part of your assignment also. Please do it. What all you've accomplished in your life from the time you were born till now. Jo bhi, small, large, big, whatever it comes to. Time for a sun salutation.
The Surya Namaskar with mantras. Om Mitraye Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaye Namaha. Om Bhanave Namaha. Om Khagaye Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Om Marichai Namaha. Om Adityay Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkay Namaha. Om Bhaskaray Namaha. Salutations to the universal friend. Salutations to the resplendent sun. Salutations to the energy that induces activity within us. Salutations to the one who illumines. Salutations to the sun moving across the sky. Salutations to the giver of strength. Salutations to the golden cosmic self. Salutations to the Lord of the dawn. Salutations to the son of Aditi, the cosmic mother. Salutations to the benevolent mother. Salutations to the energy that we praise, and to the one who guides us to salvation. The sun salutation now with the names of the postures, both in Sanskrit and English. Pranamasan, Hastuttanasan, Madhahastasan, left leg back, Ashvasanchalanasana, Parvatasan, and hold this position, and now slowly progressing into the deeper version of Parvatasan, Adho Mukh Svanasana. Ashtang Namaskar, Bhujangasana, Parvatasan, left forward Ashvasanchalanasana, Padahastasana, Hastutthanasana, Pranamasan. On the right side, prayer position, raised arms pose, hand to feet pose, right leg back, equestrian pose, mountain pose, hold mountain pose, and slowly moving into the deeper version of mountain, the downward facing dog. Salute with 8 limbs, cobra, press back to mountain, right forward equestrian pose, hand to feet pose, raised arms position, prayer pose. One round of the sun salutation with awareness on the breathing. So exhaling our hands to the chest, pranam. Inhaling as we bend back. We exhale as we fold forward. Left leg back, inhale as we're arching back. Exhale into the forward. Hold the breath for knees, chest, chin. Inhale as we arch back. Exhale into the forward. Left leg forward, inhale. This is a back bend. Exhale whenever we bend forward. Inhale as we bend back. Exhale, hands to the chest. And on the right, deep breathing. Exhale. A deep inhale. A long exhale. Right leg back with an inhale. And exhale. Hold the breath. Inhale and exhale. Right leg forward with a deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale.
All right. After the blessings, let's go for a creative visualization. So all of us know that we've come to this dream journey, this transformation journey, because we have our goals. We also know that it's very important to have activities planned, to have deadlines planned. Without them, they don't come to fruition, right? And today we'll revisit the very idea of setting goals. Possibly the trickiest part of getting what we want in life is figuring out what we really want. And yet it is certainly the most important part of it all. I have found this to be unfailingly true in my life. As soon as I have a very clear, strong intention to create a particular thing, it manifests almost immediately, often within hours or days of getting clear about it, with very little effort involved. So, it becomes effortless once you really want it and you're very clear about it and you have a good feeling about it. There's nothing like doubt nahi hai, kuch nahi hai. And iske liye we even spoke about yesterday about affirmations with clearing. So I hope that's something you have learned, imbibed for life, not just for once, for life. कभी आपको विश्वास नहीं हो अपनी affirmation पे, what should we do with the clearing? Now, I experience this kind of click in my consciousness when I suddenly get a very strong experience of what I want and an equally strong experience that I am going to get it. It usually takes a certain amount of time, energy spent in processing before I arrive at that point of clarity. And very often, the click of clarity has been preceded by feelings of confusion, despair, hopelessness, and so on, which I've had to work my way throughout. And I've done that through clearing and affirmations. So don't worry. The darkest hour is truly just before the dawn. So that you all know that about life, right? Before it's going to become dawn, that's when it's really dark time, darkest in the night. So it's okay. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. The most extreme example of this in my own life was a 10-year process of deep emotional healing that I went through in order to get clear about my intention to find my life partner. Although I thought I was ready for this to happen, I discovered that I had such deep fear and ambivalence. Once I was able to acknowledge those feelings consciously and work with healing my fears and old emotional patterns, my intention became clear. 3 weeks later, I got together with a man who is now my husband. Discovering what you want in your life can be facilitated by the process of setting goals. I often find it helpful to do some exercises with pen and paper, which I share with you here. When you're working on setting goals, it's important to keep a few things in mind. Remember that setting goals does not mean that you're stuck with these goals. You can change them as often as you want and feel that it's necessary. Remember also that setting goals does not mean that you have to pursue them through effort, striving, or struggling. It does not mean that you have to become emotionally addicted to achieving them. On the contrary, setting goals can help you flow through life more easily, effortlessly, and pleasurably. So, when your goals become so important that you're able to flow and enjoy, that's when the goal is actually becoming a conversion, because you're flowing with it. It's effortless. You're like loving it, you're moving with it. Now, the nature of life is movement and creativity. And goals give you a clear focus and direction in which way to lead your life, in which way to channel your natural creative energy, thereby helping you to outflow and contribute to the world. And this enhances our feeling of well-being and satisfaction in our own lives. Goals are there to help us and support us in our true purpose. Very important to understand this particular fact about us. Now, if you make a goal which is societally conditioned, your heart and soul will not be in it. And where heart and soul are not in it, the body will not be aligned with it. Because initially, the body will be mechanically thinking and doing it. But when there's no heart, when there's no soul, how do you make a dance? Goals can be made in the spirit that life is an enjoyable game to be played and the one that I can be deeply rewarded. And not to be taken too heavily or seriously. At the same time, you must give them enough weight and importance so that they are of real value to you. So if you're dilly-dallying in your life and you haven't yet found your purpose, that means it's time to go inwards and inquire within us that what am I good at? And in this particular thing, you will be realizing when you see what all I've accomplished. Yeah. So Barbara Sher and Shakti Gawain both are working on us simultaneously if we want them to work. If you're looking at them as just theoretical chapters and okay, they seem good, they sound good, they make sense, but yet I'm not doing it. then I'm not actually serious enough to make the transformation in my life. Now, you may find the very process of choosing goals brings up a certain amount of emotional resistance in you. You might experience this in various ways, such as you may be depressed, hopeless, overwhelmed with the thought of trying to set goals, or you might feel the desire to distract yourself by eating, sleeping, or other activities and binging, basically, whatever you're binging at. And you will know maximum. These emotional reactions are close to ways in which you avoid getting what you want in life. So, if we have emotional reactions, please understand they are messengers about something. Tune in. It's important to go ahead and experience these feelings and reactions, to go through them, to process them, to move on with them. Once you get into it, you will find it of immense value. Then again, you may thoroughly enjoy the whole process and find it very expansive, fun, enlightening. I hope so. But don't make the choosing of goals so complicated or so insignificant or significant, I'll say, whatever. Start with simple, obvious things. Remember, you can always change and develop them as you go along. Goals are meant to be innovated, to be modified. Today's exercise is very nice. Again, we will be doing this also after finding what all we've done. We sit down with the pen and paper and write down the following categories. And this we've done even initially with the magic book. So, what I would request is go through them with a fresh start and then compare the notes and see what is common. What is common is something that you want, right? So, today, what we have to do is write about our personal growth or education. Do you still want to get educated? Do you still personally want to grow, or are you happy where you are? What is your work and career like? And what would you want it to be? Relationships, creative self expression. Would you want to be a poet? Would you want to write poems? Would you want to paint? Would you want to cook? Would you want to express yourself in some creative way? Money. What is your feeling about money? Lifestyle, possessions, leisure, travel. Now, is it travel only holistic, only spiritual, or is it a lot more fun? Or is it this and that and that? The wants and the presents, whatever you want. Now, keeping in mind your present life situation, write down each category, some things that you would like to have, to change, or to improve them in the near future. Don't think too hard. You don't be like, yeah, automatically आएगा. ऐसे करूंगा तो अच्छा हो जाएगा. No, 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 no. Simply write down any ideas that come to your mind as good possibilities. The purpose of the exercise is to loosen you up and get you thinking about what you want in the various areas of your life. You know, it's like kacha chitta likh dete apne aap ka. And when you look into it, like, oh, this is what I want. It's not people, it's what I want. Again, I request you, do not write what people want of you. What do you want? Number 2, take another piece of paper and write at the top, if I could be, do, and have everything I want, this would be my ideal scene. Now, in your ideal scene, you may say that if I could just laze around and do whatever I wanted, like maybe having a beer, or maybe just lying down on the beach, and yet have all the financial security, have all the physical security, then this is what my ideal scene would be. You know, workout, but apne aap patle ho rahe hain, kitna bhi kha rahe hain, sab mein paka pakaya mil raha hai. Fantasies are allowed in this, all right? Now list the same 7 categories, and after each one, write a paragraph or 2. I know this will take a little time, but this half an hour that you'll invest today in yourself will be absolutely wonderful. Describing your absolute ideal situation in life and as far as you can fantasize about it. So this is about your fantasy unfolding. The purpose of the exercise is to stretch and expand you beyond your present limits. So let your imagination take over and really let yourself have everything you could ever want. When you have finished this, add one more category, world situation environment. Now in this, you want to write about politics, you want to write about Mother Earth going through ascension, all of us transforming, becoming spiritual, understanding love and light, whatever, more greenery, less pollution, less toxic air. better governance, whatever. Describe the kind of changes you would like to see happen in the world in your lifetime. If you have the power to change things, world peace, and poverty, people becoming conscious of one another on the earth, living in harmony with nature, schools transforming into exciting learning centers, hospitals becoming true centers of healing, and so on and so forth. You can be as creative as you like with this category, and you may find that you have all kinds of interesting ideas you never thought of before. Now reread the whole thing and meditate on it for a while. Create a mental picture for yourself of a wonderful life in a wonderful world. Can all of us do this? Is it so difficult to write down these 7 categories, then something about world peace, and then meditate over it? जो भी हमने one paragraph लिखे हैं, can we spend this? Thank you so much for saying will be done. Once this will be done, you will find a new vigor, a new energy in you. And in my opinion, the best time to do home assignments is immediately after the session. Your mornings are still sacred. If you can still invest your time, 6:20, 21, you're kind of getting free. Work till 7 o'clock every morning and say 7 o'clock is when I do whatever I do. So immediate is the most amazing because you're already in that raised vibration. Number 3, again, take a fresh sheet of paper. Based on what seems most meaningful from the ideal scene you have created above, write a list of the 10 or 12 most important goals for your life as you feel them to be right now. Remember, you can change and revise this list time to time. And we should be doing that also. Very important to revisit them. Number 4, let's write down our 5-year goals and list whatever the important goals we would like to achieve within the 5 next years. Very important to do that. It's wonderful and it's great to write our goals in the form of affirmations. And if they have already been achieved, as if they haven't already been achieved. This helps to achieve a clearer, stronger effect. For example, but again, when you write the affirmations, clearing hona chahiye. It's not like a blockage hona chahiye, right? So kaise clear karna hai, wo humne already likh liya tha. I now own and live on 20 acres of land in the country with a beautiful house, orchards, creek, and lots of animals. I now support myself easily and abundantly through leading seminars and giving speeches to enthusiastic and appreciative audiences. In writing our goals, be sure to put down things that are real and meaningful to us. Things that you really want, not what you think you should want. Again, remember this line, that you want, not what you think you should want. No one else needs ever see your goal unless you want him or her to see so. And this process requires that you be totally honest with yourself. Honesty, integrity with yourself, that this is my window. I don't have to share with anybody. It's just I, me, and my world. Repeat the process above with your goals for 1 year. Don't make too many. If you have a lot at first, eliminate, but keep the 5 or 6 most important months. As I've discussed this before, 80-20, prioritize. आने को तो बहुत कुछ आएगा. उसमें highlight कर दो, क्योंकि this is what I'm planning for this year. So because if there are 20 things to be done, 5 can be done well, 20 will be done half-heartedly. 20 में से 5 तो होंगी भी नहीं. So might as well choose beginning. Check to see what they are in alignment with the 5-year goals. That is, make sure they're moving in the same general direction so that when you accomplish your 1-year goals, you will be a step closer to your 5-year goals. For example, if one of your 5-year goals is to own your own business, one of your 1-year goals might be to have a certain amount of money saved towards the end of the year of doing something which is like a new endeavor or new enterprise. So very important to have a new job. Maybe in a similar business, you will be getting more money and certain type of experience that you will probably be needing. Now, after we've done all of this, it's very important to write goals for 6 months from now, 1 month and 1 week from now. So long term, a middle term, a short term, and a very, very short term. Again, let's keep it simple, and let's choose the 3 or 4 that are very, very important to us. For example, your simple short goal could be, now 40 days of this course are left, and I will give my best to this course, and I will make the most of what's coming my way. What's gone is gone. Now I'm realistic. I can do it. Morning, evening, I can do it. I will wake up and do it. Let's be realistic, but again, how much we can accomplish in the shorter range goals. Again, let's make sure they're in alignment with the long-term goals. You may find it difficult to be so specific about events so far in the future, but you may have an uncomfortable feeling about planning ahead. However, just making a plan does not oblige you to follow it. In fact, you're bound to change considerably. The exercise is for the purpose of getting practice in setting goals, acknowledging that some of our fantasies can become reality if we want them to, getting in touch with some of the most important purposes and directions in our life. I suggest that you keep your goals in your notebook. And I will add to this, we have a dream journal. I would say, please write there. A dream journal also has affirmations. So it's going to be a dual purpose. Please do use that book there. Every now and then, perhaps every few months or so, whenever it feels like a helpful thing to do, sit down with your notebook and do some of the processes again. Revising, reshaping your goals are needed. Be sure to date your paper each time you do this. And dating the in paper is important, and keeping your lists in order is also very, very, very important. It's very interesting and informative to look back and see how they gradually evolve. Some general rules. For short range goals, 1 week, 1 month, be fairly simple and realistic. Choose things that are pretty sure you can accomplish unless you especially feel like taking on a big challenge, which can be very good sometimes. The more long range your goal, the more expansive and imaginative it can be, so that your horizons are constantly extended. Number 2, when you find that you have not accomplished some of your goals, which will inevitably happen, and that's okay for it to happen, please do not judge, criticize yourself, or assume that you have failed. Simply acknowledge clearly to yourself that you have not accomplished the goal, and decide whether it is actually a goal for you or not. That is whether you want to set it again for yourself or not, or whether people are making you set it for yourself. It is very important that you acknowledge unaccomplished goals in this way. Otherwise, they will accumulate in the back of your mind and you will feel unconsciously and a feeling of I'm a failure. And that will eventually make you away from your goal setting process. Number 3, when you find that you've accomplished a goal, even a smaller little bit, be sure to acknowledge yourself for that. Give yourself a pat on the back and enjoy at least a moment of satisfaction about it. All too often, we accomplish our goals and forget to even notice or enjoy the fact that we have done so. कितनी बार होता है लाइफ में चीजें हो जाती हैं वो हमें पता ही नहीं कैसे हो गया. Of course पता है, मंशा थी, इंटेंशन थी, संकल्प था. Number 4, don't take on too much at once. Set goals that feel good to you. If you feel overwhelmed, confused, or discouraged, simplify. You may want to work on goals in one area of your life only, such as your job, as your relationships. This process is ultimately to help you enjoy your life more. If you set a lot of goals and that you don't accomplish, you are probably either setting them unrealistically high or setting goals that you probably truly don't desire and therefore have no real inner intention of pursuing. Choose goals that you genuinely like and want and that are realistic for you. Your goal should make you feel good, uplifted, expanded, full of pleasure, challenged. If not, find ones that always do. So in today's chapter is very profound, very deep, very interesting, and please do that because goal setting is important, analysis, inner view is important. Very, very, very important to understand this about ourselves, about our life, about our strategies, about what we really want. If you have a long-term goal, it has to be in alignment with your middle-term goal, short-term goal, and an absolute quick goal. So get that clear. It's very simple to do it. Say you have a long-term goal of losing 20 kilos in 6 months. Now you break that and you say, okay, now that becomes ballpark 5 kilos a month I'm supposed to lose. Now for this, what do? That means 1 kilo a week, 1.25 kilos a week is the average. What do I do for this? Eat lesser food, burn out more calories, be more grateful, be more happy, exercise a bit more, and suspend judgment. Don't be judgmental of yourself at all. This is a very nice chapter and I'm very excited to take you through this. And this is something we are all victims of. So it's talking about Rod Judkins and it says, I sat in the Royal Albert Hall along with a few thousand other music fans,
completely riveted. Some had traveled hundreds of miles to be there. The historical setting contributed to the compelling atmosphere. The virtuoso pianist walked on stage, lifted the lid of this piano, and sat there in silence for 4 minutes and 33 seconds, with a seriousness of purpose that was palpable to us all. Then he closed the lid of the piano and walked off stage. He had listened excitedly to nothing. The audience and orchestra behind the pianist sat still. A violinist dropped his bow. An oboist rustled as he stretched his leg, and there was no intentional wind solo from the stomach of a woman sitting 2 rows in front of me. But that was all. So, they've said it a very beautiful wind solo. What is this? Some woman there farted. Okay. And that is what they're talking about, that even that's a part of the entire program. Now, when the piece came to an end, the conductor said, "And now for some real music." And that's when Beethoven and Brahms began the program. What a Philistine. We listened to John Cage's 433. It was performed without a pianist playing a single note. The piece consisted of the sounds in the auditorium, the coughs, the clothes rustling, breathing, distant sounds of traffic. 433 made the point that all sound is equally valid. The sound of a Beethoven symphony is no more beautiful than that of a food mixer. It is not necessarily when we listen to that is significant, but listening itself. What makes 433 so compelling is the simplicity of the concept. Now, Cage tried to eliminate judgment from music because he believed that everything was music and the sound of traffic was as beautiful as a Mozart's concerto. Music didn't just exist in concert halls, but it was all around us, all the time, which means we are all in the best seats. In a way, he was pointing out that we all only hear what we listen to. He simply listened harder than most. So if you look at here, there's a bike, which is, of course, having the typical bike noise, but that's not noise, that's beautiful melody and voice, and this music. So if all of us can behave in a fashion and not judge the sounds of things around us which are disturbing or can be a condition that they're disturbing, life can be a music. To get the most out of any situation, it is important to suspend judgment. We judge everything, people, prices, products, behavior, and automatically categorize these things as good or bad. Once you have pigeonholed something, it is locked down. Deferring judgments keeps all possibilities open. When a small little child is crying on the flight, you will be like judging, oh, my, can't the parents make the child quiet? It is not in their hands. Many a time the child could have problems. But rather than thinking of that as a distraction, what if you start sending healing to the child and saying, may this child stop crying and may the parents be comforted and may the flight be happy? Do we do that? Or are we conditioned criticizing? And we keep looking at them scornfully like this. Haven't you seen such people in the flight? This is how we all are behaving. Judging. Noise. Somebody is honking. Why is he honking? He could be having an emergency, or maybe he's a chronic honker. Let's try to abandon conventional criteria like the one that holds that traditional forms of art are more beautiful than anything else. Throw away hierarchies, accept that everything has qualities of some kind, and you have opened yourself up to the beauty of all things. Judgment and creativity are two different processes. It is important to create freely, and it is not possible to do that and judge at the same time. Defer forming opinions or jumping to conclusions until the end of the process. The problem with us is we are, I shouldn't be saying so, but opinionated, yes, because that's what we're conditioned. So from becoming conditional opinionated people, let's become unconditional love givers and channels. Let's see the magic of our life when we start accepting everything as is. And that acceptance starts from here. Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Acceptance of that. K.D. Lang says, look, art knows no prejudice. Art knows no boundaries. art doesn't really have judgment in its purest form. So just go, just go. Very, very important to flow from far from judgment, from criticism, and into a world of love and light. Rahul sir, thank you so much. Time for a heart thought. Who would like to read? You can raise your hand. And let's see what thank you, Akshay. Lots of love. So these chapters are unfolding very beautifully for all of us. If we're ready to take back a lot, agar hum ready hain, receptive hain, open hain for understanding, a lot more magic can happen for us. So let's be there and let's do the assignment with diligence. Yes, please. It's about negative thoughts. So just see, we talked about criticism and negative thoughts, how they come up. So I am now willing to see only my magnificence. A thought which says I'm a bad person produces a negative feeling. However, if you do not have such a thought, you will not have the feeling. Change the thought and the feeling must go. Yes, Akshay, over to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I now choose to eliminate from my mind and life every negative, destructive, fearful idea and thought. I no longer listen to or become part of detrimental thoughts or conversations. Today, no one can harm me because I refuse to believe in being hurt. No matter how justified it may seem to be, I refuse to indulge in damaging emotions. I rise above anything that attempts to make me angry or afraid. Destructive thoughts have no power over me. Guilt does not change the past. I think and say only what I want to have created in my life. I am more than adequate for all I need to do. I am one with the power that created me. I am safe. All is well in my world.
How beautiful. Thank you so much, Ruchi. Thank you so much, Akshay, for reading so wonderfully. Now it's time for us to meditate, and Shivani, as always, will be recording. So big shout out thanks to Shivani for sharing all the beautiful meditations with all of us every single day. All right, thank you for being here in this beautiful session. And now we'll go into our meditation, and let's understand that we are here to heal. And we're here to heal ourselves, and we're here to heal others. So today, I want us to heal somebody else. So let's understand how we can heal. Is there anybody we know here who's not well, or who's somebody's family member? We can just direct energy anywhere. So if some of you are not feeling very comfortable, maybe we can do it for you, or ballpark it to anyone. Okay, so let's close our eyes. Back straight. Feet firmly placed on the ground below. Take a deep breath in and out. In and out. In and out. Life is a blessing. Life is a healer. So I am a healer. The world is a healer. And we're all healing ourselves. Healing others is the most beautiful act of selfless love. Today, I'm healing somebody that I really think who needs my healing. It could be one of my Sangha Mitras, Meenakshi, or anybody else that I wish to heal. It could also be her and that other person. For this, let's learn to go deep within and relax. Let's learn to accept the person for who he or she is right now. Relax deeply, very deeply. So feel a relaxation energy coming into your Brahmayandra, your crown chakra from top, and feel the healing energy gushing into your body from top to toe. Feel the energy touching every part of your body and healing it. This healing energy is blessing and healing your brain from all the activities. Your eyes, by balancing them, settling them. Your nose, your mouth, relax. Your neck and shoulders, relax. Your arms, relax. Your chest and torso, relax. Your back, relax. Your hips, relax. Your complete legs, relax. Ankles are relaxed. Soles are relaxed. Feet are relaxed. You are relaxed. Let's think of ourselves as a clear channel through which the healing energy of the universe is pouring. This energy does not come from you personally. It comes from a higher source, and you serve to focus it and direct it. Now picture a person or think of the person as clearly as you can. And this is not about healing ourselves, it's about healing others. So even if you are finding yourself being sick, you're right now thinking of somebody else who needs healing more than you. You can ask the person if there's anything in particular he would like you to do for him in your meditation. Just have a closed-end conversation, higher self to higher self conversation. Just tune in. If you hear something, tell the person, I will do to the best of my ability and what feels right for me. If you still haven't heard, yet we can do to the best of our ability and what feels right for us. If you feel the impulse to work on healing a particular part of the person's body or a particular problem, do so. Let's see all problems dissolved, everything being healed and function perfectly. So let's right now think in our minds that the person is suffering from some problem. Now, if you know the problem, the body part, direct the healing towards that body part. If not, let's give a generic healing. Let's see the person in front of us. And it's like we're opening our hands and we, being the channels of love, light, and healing, are directing our energy, which is from the cosmic energy, into the person's particular body part. Healing, healing, healing. I am a channel of healing. Each one of us is a healer. I heal whoever wants. I heal whoever I can. And I see my dear loved one being healed and functioning perfectly. Now we can picture him or her surrounded in a golden healing light. So you can imagine his or her aura radiating a golden light around him. In your minds, you can directly have a conversation with the person, assuring him or her that they are being best taken care of by the highest power, and that he or she can heal if it desires. Tell them that they're so happy supporting him in being totally healthy, happy, radiating with joy. And then you, being a channel of love and light, will always continue sending your support and your energy. Feel the completion of energy exchange. Feel the love from you entering in the person. Feel the person perfectly well. Do not give much of mental energy or power to the illness. Just don't let your logics get over you. Just believe in the magical power of healing. Remember, whenever if you feel depleted in your energy after healing a person, invite the universal force of energy, more from your Brahmayandra, to complete you, to nourish you, to make you even more complete if you're feeling the negative or you're feeling being drained out, emotionally, mentally, physically, however. It's very helpful to imagine turning the healing of this person over to the highest power of the universe. It's very important for us to let the person be healed by universal healing power. Whatever happens is happening for the highest good of all concerned. Remember, we don't know the finer print. We can't always know what's highest good for ourselves or others. Let's trust the process of life and let's feel complete. Whenever you feel complete, after bowing your heads in gratitude to Mother Earth, grateful to your light through your eyesight, through your eye level, looking up at the universe. You don't have to open your arms today. Just be the way it is. Just tilt your head a bit high and feel that you're being blessed with love and light. Be thankful to the universe, the cosmic energy, the healing energy. And thank it for making you so fresh, so renewed, so healthy, so bright, so refreshed. And with the beautiful feeling of this flowing energy, healing energy in your palms, you can very nicely open your hands right now and bless each other because your energy is so high. Gratitude is so high. You gently open your eyes and wish each other wellness. Ritendraji, Ruchi, Akshay, Shivani, Pratimaji, Nikita, Manish, Vijayji, Manisha, Anita, Amit, Meenakshi, Shalu, Ushaji, Pinaji, Shami, Ankur, Kamakshi, Richa, Neha, Suinderji, Arvind, Rahul sir, Amita ma'am, and all beings on Mother Earth and all the virtual participants, Sangamitras. Lots of love, lots of light, lots of healing wishes and abundance. So it is. Remember one thing, everyone. All of us are born healers. We've discussed about this before. We've discussed how wonderful we all are. Our body heals itself every day. Whatever food we are taking in, it's extra is being flowing out. The body is healing. Every morning you'll have some smell, the mouth is healing. You'll have some eye milk, the milk is healing your eyes. Our body is detoxing itself on an everyday level. Now we have a huge energy which is helping us rejuvenate. When we fall sick, the body doesn't want to eat. When you have a bad throat, it doesn't want to eat or drink anything, or maybe just something which it wants, because the body is healing. Now this beautiful healing energy that's already there in our bodies, if you direct this healing energy to somebody else, you will find a miraculous shift in his or her energy. Huge shift. Just that we keep forgetting it. So one more request to everyone, just to make your muscle, build up your muscle of healing, of being a healer. Find time whenever, whether you're moving in a car or something, start healing the world. Just start healing the world. Just give a wish of wellness, health. And whenever somebody in your family is falling sick or somebody you know of is falling sick, please wish him or her healing. It could be your child, it could be anybody you love or anybody you don't know. Remember, healing has beautiful powers. Use it Find it. We are big time healers. We have practiced this as Sangha in the first Sangha when the pandemic was an all time high. And we found such beautiful, miraculous shifts. Somebody's grandmother wasn't wasn't moving away. She had to call her life at an end. We healed her into moving. Next morning, we heard she's crossed over. 1 month, she was struggling. We've seen magics and miracles. Tomorrow, as a Sangha, we will heal somebody. So if you know of somebody who's not really well, please feel free to put her or his picture if somebody really needs it. Just don't do for the sake of it. That, oh, I have a cold, so heal me. No, no, no. Something major. If you know of someone, put a picture. Let's see if group energy can be worked on. So let's realize that all of us are healers and we must practice this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for making my morning so beautiful with your presence. I love it and I'm so grateful. Atma Namaste to each one of you. Let's see each other tomorrow at 5. Lots of love, lots of light. Take care. Thank you, Rahul sir.